Hello again, my name is Amy Gilio and I am a watercolor artist and Skillshare teacher with over 20 years of drawing and painting experience. Today I will be sharing my first impressions of Viviva Color Sheets. The generous folks over at Viviva offered to send me 2 sets of their color sheets along with one of their water brushes to test out. So a big thank you to Viviva for the opportunity to try their products. Always love trying out new art supplies, not gonna lie. I'm planning to do a giveaway over on Instagram for the second set of color sheets, so keep an eye out for that. You can find me at Amy Gilio Art, and so it's the same handle as I have here on YouTube. I'm gonna do my best to be as comprehensive as possible while also trying to be concise. I'm not so good at the concise part. So if this video gets kind of long, apologies in advance. I just want to give you guys enough information so that you can make your own educated decision about whether or not this product is right for you. Okay, so just diving right into it. So when you first open it, there's this nice little section on the inside cover where you can put your name under "these colors belong to." I thought that was a nice touch. And then they have their instructions, which is also nice. So for those of you who don't know what these are, Viviva Color Sheets are super vivid, transparent watercolors. They come in 16 colors, and it's a booklet format. So the pigment has been adhered down to these cardstock sheets, and the booklet is sewn together. And each of the watercolor pages is separated by a water repellent sheet. I don't know if it's vellum or not, but that way that the pages don't stick together. And then on the very final page, there is a place to add a mixing area into the book. There's an extra piece of cardstock that comes with an adhesive tab, and you can stick that right into the main booklet, and it offers a small fold-out mixing area that has also been coated with some sort of water-resistant material. The booklet is about the same size as an iPhone 7. It's just under 5.5 inches long, or 14 centimeters, and it's about 2 3/4 inches wide, or 7 centimeters. So it fits in your hand pretty well. It also would easily fit in a small purse or pocket even of a coat. So in that aspect, it's very conveniently sized. In comparison, I have a 12 half pan travel palette in a metal tin. And while they're about the same length and width, the metal tin is much wider and considerably heavier. So if weight is a consideration, the color sheets are definitely lighter than a traditional watercolor travel palette. Moving on, I'd like to talk about the water brush that came with the Viviva Color Sheets. It is about the same size as a medium Pentel Aquash brush, and the one that I have has seen some use, so it's a little bit stained. However, both of the brushes come to a really nice point and are about the same length. The reservoir in the handle of the Pentel brush is slightly larger, but I'm not sure how much difference that really makes. They both look to be about the same diameter and feel about the same in the hand, although the Viviva water brush is slightly lighter, probably due to the smaller reservoir in the handle. Overall, they're very similar. They have a slightly different construction, but very, very comparable. The cap is secure on the end as well as the top, and the brush is not leaking, but obviously I just opened this, so the brush has not seen much use. Alrighty, moving on. I'm going to do some color swatching for you, and I'm going to go through all of the colors in the booklet, and then I'm also going to be using the provided water brush so that I can get a feel for that as well. Another thing of note would be to clean your brush very thoroughly when switching colors, as you don't want to cause any cross-contamination between the swatches. I'm just going to work my way through the colors. My biggest takeaway from seeing them, applied to paper is that some of the colors are, in my opinion, too similar, especially for such a limited palette that only has 16 colors. I would have liked to see more variety and more clearly delineated colors as far as warm and cool tones go. For my work and the things that I tend to paint, being landscapes, animals, birds, flowers, I don't need two reds. And if you are going to have two reds in the same palette, they should be noticeably different. And then the oranges and yellows also seem to have this issue. The dusk orange and the gold ochre are very, very similar. I also wish that there was a cool yellow, such as a lemon yellow or an aureolin included. I really don't see any of these colors as being true yellows. They're too dark and too much on the orange side for me. Now, granted, I think part of the problem is that I'm activating too much pigment when I'm lifting the pigment off of the swatch, and then I'm putting too much pigment down on the paper, and that when these colors are used with a lighter touch, a lighter hand, where you're just taking the tiniest bit of pigment and then diluting that in a lot of water, you're going to get more of a truer yellow. The light green, I'm seeing that as a predominantly yellow color, and I would not consider it a green, although I do expect that it will mix really nicely with some of the blues to make a nice green. These sap and viridian greens were what I expected them to be, and I would say that they're pretty true to their names. Same would go for the violet and magenta. And then the similar color problem recurs again with the blues. So I wish that they were noticeably different, like that I wish there was one blue that was noticeably darker than the other. And then I'm having that same problem again with the browns. The burnt umber, in my opinion, again, this is all just my opinion, should be darker and cooler. And I think that the burnt sienna just seems to be a lighter version, a slightly lighter version of the burnt umber, and not really a different shade of brown. I don't really have any problems with the slate black. Black is not a color I normally gravitate towards. The slate black color does not seem to be drying as a true black. So the name aside, it seems to be a decent dark to have in the palette. And then I have some just general notes and takeaways for my first time using these pigments. For one, the colors are extremely vibrant, especially when wet, and they dry slightly more subdued and in varying degrees depending on the color. The pigments are very easily transferable. I got them all over my fingers, and then I managed to get them onto myself just from holding the booklet open. So I would say try not to touch the colors in the booklet. And if you're worried about getting it on your hands, you could use rubber gloves. And again, very, very minimal water is needed to activate these colors. You only need a tiny bit, and then you can kind of dilute that with more water. You really need to try and keep the amount of water in the pages of the booklet to a minimum, or this could get really messy. So if you like a lot of water and you want like a really big mixing area, I would suggest bringing something separate, like a little plastic mixing tray or a small palette. I did not have any problems with it, but I could see that if you got too much water on the pages, it could be problematic. I decided to really put this product to the test, and I took it along with me on a sketching trip to the park. So there will be a part 2 video coming soon, which details my painting process on location. I hope that at least some of the information I have provided here has been helpful to you. There was a lot more feedback I could give, but I felt like the video was already getting too long, so I had to cut it back a little bit. I'm planning on doing a blog post to kind of really hash everything out, and so you can find more information there. If you enjoyed watching this video, please give it a thumbs up. It lets me know that I'm actually making content that people want to see. And I would love to hear your feedback. If you have any questions, I can do my very best to answer them. I'm certainly not an expert on this product. I've only used it a handful of times, but I would be more than happy to give you whatever information I can. If you're interested in winning a set of these color sheets for yourself, please be sure to follow me over on Instagram at amygilioart, and you'll be notified when I do the giveaway. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you for my little park adventure.